I was just talking to somebody that pretty much owns their own business, and they were just telling me that they pretty much accomplished what they kind of wanted to accomplish in life, but they still haven't found a significant other. And all those years in school that they had to stay focused on to gain the degrees, to get admission into the job and to start working or whatever. And that whole time they sacrificed trying to find a girl or having relationships. And this person was telling me how even though that he's pretty much financially okay, he is missing a huge piece of his heart, he says. And I felt that. And I was like, bro, I understand exactly what you're saying, man. You know, nothing's worse than focusing on, your job or your schooling or something, and you don't have no woman in between that. Let's be real. As men, when we see a beautiful woman, we immediately get happy or immediately get excited. If you see a girl that's really attractive, you're like, damn, she's beautiful. That's excitement. Even if it's on a low level, even if years of isolation and desolation has left you in constant irritation and constant pain, you still see a beautiful woman and you still desire to have a relationship with a beautiful woman, a healthy relationship, right? But when you kind of neglect your emotional needs, nowadays most men are kind of forced to neglect their emotional needs because most people don't care what men are going through psychologically or financially. But when you're forced to not get your needs met and you're forced to like hide it inside your soul and keep on focusing on what you have to focus on, and you're not getting your emotional needs met and your physical needs met and your intimacy needs met, you start to develop internal depressions and you start to have confidence issues. This person was telling me how even though that he has a 9 to 5, pretty much he or his own business, right? But, if you treat your business like a 9 to 5, that's usually how it grows and expands. If you put the same 8 hours you put every day in your 9 to 5, you put the same 8 hours into your business creation and integration and establishment, then, it doesn't guarantee success, but it puts you on a higher plateau for success and relevancy. So basically, this person was just telling me, man, how not having a woman in your life is just a horrible thing. And you see men who didn't go his way, men that they didn't get careers, they didn't have good jobs, and but they had the woman. And sometimes those women are able to use their positions to help those men out financially. Like a woman is maybe able to get a man this job here, or maybe able to put a good word in him for here, here, and here. Of course, it's a double-edged blade because, the same woman can, turn the blade against them. But for Chad and Tyrone, they pretty much do anything for them. And these guys didn't have to, go to school or get an education or stay focused on their studies or work hard or anything like that. They were just born attractive. When you're born attractive, there's opportunities that are presented before you, and there's people around who are willing to help you. There's nothing worse than seeing the girl that you always wanted and never had, and then seeing Chad and Tyrone get her. And he's doing things very, very adult with her, behind closed doors, making that nanny smack and etc. So, and you're sitting there in your studies and you're sitting there focusing on your business, which is good because eventually once your business takes off, if it takes off, but according to the demiurge, it probably won't. But if your business takes off, then those same girls who are ignoring you are going to come running back. But then, they're not in their 20s no more. They're not young women that are like 22, 24 or whatever. Now they're like 32, 34, 44. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's not the same type of energetic manifestational frequency on a positive level when somebody has emotional baggage because they neglected the good men in their life and focus on the bad guys and the Chads and the Tyrones. You don't want to be nobody's second choice. You don't want to be nobody's, just leftovers or something like that. You want to be somebody's first choice. You want to be somebody's dream choice. But a lot of guys like us, bro, unfortunately for us, we're not really anybody's dream choice or not anybody's first choice. A lot of us are emotionally scarred and devastated, and it's crazy. So what I'm saying is it's it's extremely difficult in this world when you're by yourself and you have no girl to hug. You don't have no girl to kiss. You don't have anything to really look forward to and strive for. I mean, your payday, as soon as you get paid, you're broke because you have to pay bills, and the little savings you do have, let's say most Americans don't even have $10,000 in savings. I know I ain't got 10 grand, but I'm a I have but I'm a I have psychological deformations. But there's people that have their mind right and their grind tight, and they still don't have $10,000 in savings somewhere for an emergency. You know, most Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless. You know, and it's abhorrent. We shouldn't live in a system like this that prioritizes greed and negligence over the prioritization of human decency and human needs and psychological affections. But here we are, you know. So I don't think people understand the areas of life that not having a woman affects you in. A lot of people, oh, I don't care about a woman. The only reason you don't like care about a woman, you do care. Everybody cares about having a woman. Stop. You're a human and you got something between your legs. You know, don't act like females just don't matter anymore. No, it's just that you can't get females. If you could get females, if you could get pretty girls, then you would change your whole tune, right? But the fact is, from early childhood to young adulthood to adulthood, you've never ever had really any successful relationships with women, and that automatically affects your confidence and belief in yourself and your self-esteem. And you develop a myriad of insecurities, and these insecurities, they build up like an avalanche going down a hill. And when that avalanche comes down, it takes around the whole town. You know, like it smothers the whole town, and some people get locked inside and smother. You know, so you don't want to get caught in that, right? But for so many years, you know, most men in history never really reproduced. Women reproduced more than men throughout history because most men perished in warfare. You got to remember, guys, this little artificial matrix you live in now, where they take men and they make men more integrated with female characteristics, and they promote this, and there's been a proliferation and integration over this over the last 50 years, right? When you do that to your male population, they're not going to be able to rebel. You know, when your male population thinks that Call of Duty is real combat, or they think saying discriminatory things online and think in a certain way, you know, and they think that's tough. They think that's being a man. They think that's, you know what I mean? That generation is done for. And then you have a generation of men that don't even approach women, because approaching a woman can lead to legal ramifications if a woman doesn't like you. And you got to be, and like, so it's like, where do men like us meet a girl? And what sucks is when you get older, you don't want to be the 40-year-old in college, right? You know what I mean? That's just weird. It's like, you got, people in there who just graduated high school looking at this person that's like 3 times their age. And it's like, you don't want to, like, it's just a weird feeling. You know, I remember when I was younger, bro, like, I remember there was this older person at the time. They were an older person. I think I was about 21 or something like that. And there was somebody like in the class that was like 37. And I was just like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, man, by 37, I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna have, by 37, I'm gonna have multiple kids. I'm gonna have the skyline I want. I'm gonna have, everything I could dream. And here I am, pretty much old, and none of those things seem attainable. Meanwhile, that's what I'm saying, bro. The demiurge controls who gets what in this world. Remember that. Remember, don't listen to people say that you're in control. You're in control. No, you're not. How are you in control when you can get cancer anytime? How are you in control when your boss can fire you tomorrow for any arbitrary reason? How are you in control when if you don't pay your bills, they kick you out on the streets? How are you in control when somebody tells you what to do and you have to listen because you don't have a place to go? How are you in control? How are you in control when this God could snap his fingers and make us all successful, happy, and rich? But instead, he doesn't. That's his choice. Your God has a choice too. The demiurge has a choice too. This is when I was watching Benedictine Truth, and he said something interesting. He was like, could God make it to his own heaven if he was in our shoes? And I think that's a very interesting topic, you know? This God, and I want to elaborate on that a little bit. This God would never survive being in our shoes. Do you think the God of the Bible would survive waking up every day and going to a 9 to 5 job, getting talked to disrespectfully, dealing with gossip, dealing with people trying to, sabotage them, dealing with all type of HR meetings and dealing with like having like a, maybe you have like a female boss who's deep into like feminism or whatever, and she has like a bias against men or something like that, and you don't know this, or like at first you didn't know, then you started noticing that, and you got to go to work every day and deal with that. You got to step on eggshells and kiss her behind, not to anger her and shit like that. Like, come on, bro. That's no way to live, man. That's no way for men to live, bro. Like, that's no way for anybody to live, but especially men, because men, we had a role in society. And you have to understand that we had a role in society. Men had a defined role in society. If you worked hard at this crappy job, you get to have a house, a wife, and children. You get to have a house, a wife that's going to bear you children, and you're going to have enough money to take care of those children for your wife to respect you. She doesn't have, she probably, like, unless a lot of women back in the 50s and 40s and 60s, 70s, who probably didn't love their husbands or whatever, but they stay with them because of the financial security and the financial stability. Nowadays, women can have their own independence, so they don't really need. So now women have the choice to pick a guy who they really want, or multiple guys, and still be able to make money from only frauds or OnlyFans, whatever you want to call it, right? But back in the days, you could be a guy that looked like us, and as long as you worked hard at a job somewhere, then you'll be able to find a wife and build a life. But nowadays, it's not like that. It's more complicated. There's more multiple systems of oppression that are at play. It's a complexity of tragedies that come together. And these tragedies, such as, not having those proper experiences when you're younger with women. You're supposed to you're supposed to develop these experiences when you're young. And then the time you're a grown man, you should be seasoned. You should be a seasoned vet. You should be able to look at a girl, walk over there, talk to her. You should be able to get multiple women and stuff like that, right? Or to have some experiences where you actually enjoyed the company of a woman, went on a date, went on a cruise, on a ship, doing grown man shit. You know what I mean? On a yacht, wearing nice, expensive suits, like Savvy Guy be saying, wearing those expensive Italian suits, expensive colognes, expensive wine, and even more expensive wine from them beautiful girls, right? And then you're on the lot enjoying, you're on the yacht enjoying all type of adult entertainments, you know what I mean? And enjoying yourself. Like, that's the life, man, right? Like, why isn't existence and expression automatically happiness and joy? That shows you that whoever created this wanted us to suffer. I'm telling you, bro, it's a pattern that I see, and I notice it. And one thing about it is God doesn't even make it. God doesn't even hide it. This God doesn't make it hard to see that we live in a hell realm, in a soul trap prison. It's just people are brainwashed. I be going on like the internet sometimes, and I'm watching video. Like, I'm on YouTube, and I be looking at people talking about their, blessings and stuff. Oh, God saved this person. Oh, it was God. We had a fundraiser to raise $82,000. And we exceeded it. We raised over 150,000. It was God. God gave us the money. God, praise the Lord. And I'm looking at them like, no, it wasn't. It was these people working at their jobs who felt sorry they gave them money. Your God wouldn't have done shit but sat on his ass in his heavens, or in his false heavens, sat on his ass, or float in his fucking black port or wherever he's at, and just watch it and laugh. Your God doesn't care about you. Any God that puts you through the things that we have to go through is an enemy. Is not a God that you should love. Look at his actions. Look at what you're going. Look at the things. Look at the petty things you have to go through in life. You're a grown ass man being talked to like a child by your parents still. Like, you don't have enough money to move out of your parents' house. You don't have enough money to get a car. You don't have enough money to start a business. You don't have enough time to start a business because you have to work a job for survival. So how the fuck is that a good God who's trapping you? Meanwhile, this same God will take somebody like KBZ and then, bless them and put them in a position to win, right? And not saying that KBZ didn't work hard. Of course he did. He made his own business, whatever. He's good, he's talented, but still, it's like there's plenty of, people that, want to make beats and want to do what they want for a living, and they never get a shot. They never blow up. They're business minded. They have business acumen, they have it. But they never take off. So it's like there's something that decides who takes off and who doesn't. There's something that decides who makes it and who doesn't. There's somebody deciding it. You can't tell me that's not true. Have you ever seen somebody with a life that you wanted? Have you ever seen somebody with something that you wanted and you were envious of it and you were jealous of it? Right? But jealousy is a feminine trait, and jealousy is an evil trait. Jealousy is not a trait that men should have. But you'd be surprised how many men, especially on here, if you come on here and you talk about, you know, any good things that happen to you, there's people listening to you that can get envious because you got something that they don't. But when you're down and out and struggling, they like you. But the minute you get a little win, then they turn on you. These people are faker than rattlesnakes in the old cave. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean, right? Like, you know, it's just I don't I don't agree with how this world is being governed, and I don't agree with suffering is just, oh, well, suffering and that's just life. No, suffering is orchestrated on purpose to produce negative energetic manifestational frequency in which these beings feed off of. You can see it for yourself. You don't gotta listen to what I say. Oh, I don't agree with that. Okay, don't agree with it. I guarantee something's going to happen in your life that seems orchestrated, and it seems like, and then when it happens, you're like, damn, that it's going to take a lot of loose from you. You know, I'm not here. Look, this one thing I learned, bro. I learned this from this. There's one YouTuber about a year. Well, I learned this way before, but like somebody just reiterated it for me. You have to be around like-minded people. You know, you don't talk to people that don't really understand your perceptions. There's no need trying to explain somebody your perceptions of the world if they don't, if they're just there, if they automatically made their mind up about you and whatever view you see the world in. You can't change nobody else's mind, even if they can see everything you're saying to be true. So it's no need trying to force people into your perceptions and perspectives. They already formulated a plot against you. They already have something against you. They're not there for truth. They're there to be archonic distractions. They're there for your energy. They're there to loose you. These people are not here to be your friend. They're not here to. So it's like people like that you got to stay far from, you know? So, you know, there's YouTubers I don't like, you know, and I don't watch their content. I just don't like them as a person. I don't like their beliefs. I can see right through them. I can see they're fake. It's fake as hell. I can look right into their eyes and see they're fake. I can see their manner. I can just tell what they're saying is, but so what I do is I don't engage with them. I don't agree with their philosophies about the world. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong. So what I do is I don't engage with them. I don't try to argue them. I just let life play out and we're going to see who's right. And 10 times out of 10, I'm usually the one that's right when I talk about the demiurge and how life is designed to make you suffer because everybody suffers every single day in all types of ways. That's a customization. That's a customized suffering. It's customizable for you. The archonic texts speak about this specifically thousands of years ago. So how do people thousands of years ago can know exactly what's happening now, right? About suffering and pain, and how this world is just always, I gotta pay bills, so I gotta go work tomorrow. Oh my God, I gotta, the bone boss gonna be there. We got a meeting tomorrow. Then I got this, I gotta go to my dad's funeral, but then blah, blah, blah. All these things that are cultivating and fomenting in your mind just to cause negative energetic manifestational frequency. There's things that we're going to go through before this week is up. I guarantee me and a lot of you listening, if not all of you listening right now, is going to go through something that's going to make you mad, make you sad, make you depressed, make you feel regret, and it's done deliberately. Have you ever just had a random thought come in your head about a painful memory and you're like, I wasn't even thinking that. It just popped into my head and then boom, now I'm thinking it. It's like something just sent that into my mind so I can feel depressed, so I can feel stressed. No one wants to be a loser. Nobody wants to be a failure. Nobody wants to be without having a woman in their life. Who wants that? People underestimate, the power of having a good, beautiful woman. If you had a girl that was attractive, she's giving you frequent sexual alleviation. She loves you. She cares about you. Wouldn't that not make you want to get out of bed and try to do something great? Wouldn't that not make you want to conquer the world like Alexander the Great? Wouldn't that not make you want to be motivated, right? How can you be motivated when there's nothing to be motivated from? How can you be motivated from inside a prison cell when you're on lockdown 24/7, right? And a lot of us, we never really experience being men, like real men. Real men need real money. And so it's funny to me that they call people lazy or they don't want to work and this, that, and this. They tell them to get a job. And these people talking about get a job, they're just as poor as you. It's always people in this position who seem to target other people in this position. How are you going to talk about somebody when you're not doing you're not doing that good yourself in life? But you're going to talk about somebody else as if you're doing so good. You think, it's just as I said, bro, we talk a lot about women, but men are ultimately the biggest enemy of other men. Let's be real, right? And some of these guys are not really men. They're kind of like they're just demons and agents from the demiurge, right? But have you ever been in a situation in which you have like your male friends and you're cool, everybody's cool, then a female comes into the equation, and once the female comes, your male friends start trying to like punk you or try to beat you up or try to, you know, they try to make you feel disrespected. They try to make you feel small. They try to make you feel low. They try to make you feel like you're not worth anything. Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? Like, how come we don't question these things? Like, me personally, whenever I see somebody acting funny, when a female comes, I don't associate with that person no more because they're too swishy, swishy, wishy washy. When somebody, if I'm in a group and a female comes in, and then the person I was talking to tries to like throw me under the bus in order to get brownie points with the female who's not even going to let him hit, you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to she doesn't care about him. She just wants her Chad and Tyrone, and then she's out, right? But you have men out there that would turn on each other just for a woman, and it's like, you guys, you have somebody that known somebody for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, 7 years, friends, borrowing money, meeting each other's family, all that. And then a woman comes into a picture and that whole friendship goes out the window. I wonder if women really understand the power that they really have. Women are not, women are very empowered nowadays. Let's be real. The workforce is more cater to females. That's why everything around, even on the internet, is a safe space. Got to be a safe space. We need a safe space, a safe space, a safe space, right? And I get it. You want a place, because my channel is a safe space for people who have lives similar to mine. People that have been rejected by this world and people who are being targeted by the demiurge. That's what my channel is about. You know, and it's a place where you can come and listen to somebody speak real, without any type of filtration. That's rare. And to me, I'm just being normal. This is how I talk. This is how I am. This is just me. This is just me. There's no act. This is just me. Right? What the fuck? So that's why I'm saying, like, when people, that's crazy when I see bigger YouTubers and you can see how fake they are, like, I'm not gonna name no names. I'm not gonna name no names because what if I do get famous one day, right? And I want to, burn bridges before I even set them. But at the same time, I probably never get to that point anyway. Because time I get to that point, I'll be a millionaire and my life would be great. So fuck it. Like, there's people like your Markipliers, your Pootie Pies, your people like that where they're so big and it's like, are they like at that level? I know you're a person, but it seems like you're more like a conglomerate. You have so much wealth, so much power, and so much access to increasing your business ventures and increasing revenue that it just seems unworldly, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace.